Please, like this video and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories. The Heart's True Calling, A Father's Second Chance. "Daddy, the doctor looks like Mummy," Lily said, pointing a tiny finger directly at Eleanor. Ethan Thorne froze in the middle of the hospital corridor. His eyes moved slowly from his daughter to the woman in front of him, and he felt as if the world stood still. The same hazel eyes, the same gentle smile, even the way she leaned down to speak to children. It was impossible. Eleanor noticed the immediate tension on the man's face and approached him carefully. "Sir, are you all right?" she asked, her voice professional but warm. "I'm Dr. Evans, a pediatric cardiologist. I've been assigned Lily's case." Ethan couldn't form words. Clara had died 7 years ago. But this woman— "Daddy's sad?" Lily interrupted, still in her father's arms. "He always gets like this when we talk about Mummy. But you look so much like her, Doctor." Eleanor felt a strange pang in her chest. There was something in the way the man looked at her, as if he had seen a ghost. "Mr. Thorne, is it? I understand Lily had an episode during her ballet class. I need to examine her immediately." Ethan nodded in silence, following Eleanor to the examination room. His legs seemed to move by instinct, while his mind struggled to process what he was seeing. 3 hours earlier, Ethan had been in his architecture office, reviewing blueprints for a new residential project. It was a Tuesday afternoon, and Lily was in her ballet class, as she was every Tuesday for the past 2 years. Their routine was perfect, predictable, safe. Then his phone rang. "Mr. Thorne?" "This is Miss Johnson, the teacher. Lily fainted during class. She's conscious, but she's complaining of chest pain. I've already called an ambulance." Ethan's world collapsed in that moment. He couldn't lose Lily too. He couldn't. Now, watching Eleanor connect the electrocardiogram electrodes to his daughter, Ethan forced himself to focus on the present. "Lily, can you tell me exactly what you felt when you were dancing?" Eleanor asked in a soft voice that immediately calmed the little girl. "We were doing turns, and suddenly I felt like my heart was going to jump out of my chest," Lily explained, her little blue eyes fixed on Eleanor. "It hurt a lot, Doctor, like when Daddy cries at night and thinks I don't hear him." Ethan's heart constricted. Eleanor gave him a compassionate look before continuing with the examination. "Well, let's see what's happening with your little heart, shall we?" Eleanor smiled, and at that smile, Ethan had to sit down. For the next 30 minutes, Eleanor worked with an efficiency Ethan couldn't help but admire. Every movement was precise, every word calculated to keep Lily calm. But it was more than that. It was the way she naturally connected with his daughter, as if she had been caring for her all her life. "Daddy, can the doctor come for dinner at our house?" Lily asked suddenly, while Eleanor reviewed the electrocardiogram results. "It's been a long time since we've had a visitor. Lily, the doctor is very busy," Ethan murmured, feeling exposed. "But Mummy always said food tastes better when it's shared," Lily insisted, and Ethan felt his breath catch. Eleanor looked up from the results, and for a moment her eyes met Ethan's. There was something there, a connection that neither of them could explain. "I have the results," Eleanor announced, changing the subject. "Lily has a supraventricular arrhythmia. It sounds worse than it is. Basically, her heart sometimes beats too fast, but it's completely treatable." "Is she going to be okay?" Ethan asked, his voice hoarse with worry. "She's going to be perfectly fine," Eleanor assured him. "She'll need some medication and regular checkups, but she can live a completely normal life." Ethan felt he could breathe again. Lily would be all right. But as Eleanor explained the treatment, he couldn't stop thinking about the strange feeling that all this had happened before, as if Clara was somehow present in that room. "Dr. Evans," Ethan finally said, "can I ask you something? Are you from around here?" "From London, I mean." Eleanor hesitated for a moment before replying. "No, I'm from Manchester. I came here 5 years ago to specialize." "Manchester." the same place where he and Clara had met at university, the same city where they had planned to get married before moving to the capital. "Daddy, can we ask the doctor if she knew Mummy?" Lily asked innocently. Maybe they were friends. Eleanor went rigid. Ethan noticed the change immediately. "Lily, not all people from Manchester know each other," Ethan explained, although his gut told him there was something more. "It would be better to schedule the next appointment," Eleanor said quickly, avoiding Ethan's gaze. "Lily will need a follow-up in 2 weeks." As Eleanor prepared Lily's discharge papers, Ethan watched her work. Every gesture, every expression, every way she moved her hands. It was like seeing Clara in a parallel life. But that was impossible. Clara had died in a car accident 7 years ago. He had been at the funeral. He had cried over her grave. "Daddy, are you all right?" Lily asked, taking his hand. "You look like you did when you lost the car keys." "I'm fine, Princess," Ethan lied, picking Lily up in his arms. "Let's go home." As they headed for the exit, Lily turned to Eleanor. "Dr. Evans, will you visit us soon?" Eleanor smiled, but Ethan noticed the smile didn't reach her eyes. "We'll see each other in 2 weeks for your appointment, Lily." "Perfect. Daddy makes very good stews," Lily shouted as they walked away. Ethan stopped at the door and turned back to Eleanor one last time. She was standing there watching them leave, and on her face was an expression he couldn't decipher. Sadness, perhaps, or recognition, a striking resemblance, a child's innocent intuition, and a father's growing suspicion. Is it a coincidence, or is something more profound at play? Share your theories in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for the next thrilling chapter. "Dr. Evans," Ethan said, taking a step towards her. "Thank you for looking after Lily." "It's my job," Eleanor replied, but her voice trembled slightly. As they walked towards the car park, Lily fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted from the day. Ethan drove in silence, his mind racing. How was it possible that a complete stranger resembled his deceased wife so closely? And why did he have a feeling that Eleanor Evans wasn't a stranger after all? When they arrived home, Ethan carried Lily to her room. As he tucked her in, she murmured in her sleep, "Daddy, I think Mummy sent Dr. Eleanor." Ethan stood motionless by his daughter's bed. In the silence of the room, he could almost hear Clara's laugh, as if she were agreeing with Lily's words. But that was impossible. The dead didn't send angels. The dead simply left, and left behind a void that never completely filled. Do you believe in fate, or is this just a coincidence? Share your thoughts below. 2 weeks later, Ethan found himself walking through the corridors of the London Children's Hospital with Lily, feeling strangely nervous. He had spent the last 2 weeks thinking about Eleanor Evans more than he wanted to admit. "Daddy, there's Dr. Eleanor!" Lily shouted, letting go of his hand and running towards Eleanor, who was leaving another consultation. "Lily!" Eleanor smiled genuinely for the first time since they had met. "How have you been feeling?" "Great. Daddy's been looking after me so well. My chest doesn't hurt anymore, and I even danced a little at home," Lily chattered as they walked towards the consultation room. Ethan watched the interaction between his daughter and Eleanor. There was something so natural in the way Lily behaved with her, as if she had been waiting for someone exactly like Eleanor her whole life. "And have you been sleeping well?" Eleanor asked, while checking Lily's vital signs. "Yes, but sometimes Daddy walks around the house at night. I think he misses Mummy more when it's dark." Ethan felt his cheeks flush. Eleanor gave him a compassionate look that made him feel even more exposed. "Daddy's worried too, Lily. It's normal," Eleanor explained softly. "Grown-ups' hearts also need time to heal." "Is your heart broken too, Dr. Eleanor?" Lily asked, with the brutal honesty of a child. Eleanor paused, her hand still on the stethoscope. Ethan saw a shadow of pain cross her face, a shadow he recognized because he carried it himself every day. "Sometimes all our hearts get a little broken, Lily," Eleanor finally replied. But that doesn't mean they can't heal. After the consultation, while they waited for Eleanor to finish writing her medical notes, Lily started drawing at a small table in the room. Ethan took the moment of silence. Dr. Evans, can I ask you something personal? Eleanor looked up, on guard. Do you have family here in London? No, Eleanor replied after a pause. My family is in Manchester. I came here alone. And you don't miss your city. Eleanor closed the medical file and looked directly at Ethan. Sometimes cities have too many memories, Mr. Thorne. Sometimes it's better to start over in a place where no one knows you. Ethan felt those words carried a specific weight, as if Eleanor was trying to tell him something without actually saying it. Daddy also wanted to move after Mummy died, Lily commented, without looking up from her drawing. But I told him Mummy still lived in our house and all her things. Eleanor tensed. Ethan noticed how her knuckles turned white as she held the pen. Lily, why don't you go to the play area while I talk to the doctor? Ethan suggested. Good idea, Lily said. Dr. Eleanor, can you come with me? I want to show you how I can do a turn without getting dizzy. You go on ahead, Princess. We'll join you in a moment, Ethan said. When Lily left the room, Eleanor immediately stood up and started organizing papers unnecessarily. Lily's results are excellent. Her heart is responding very well to the treatment. Soon, we can space out the appointments. Dr. Evans, Ethan approached the desk. Are you all right? Perfectly fine, Mr. Thorne. Why do you ask? Because every time Lily mentions her mom, you act as if you've seen a ghost. Eleanor stopped pretending to organize papers and looked directly at him. Your daughter talks a lot about her wife. It's normal that it affects me to hear about a mother who died so young. Clara was 28 when she died, Ethan said. A car accident in Manchester. She was visiting her family. She was a doctor, too. She studied medicine at the University of Manchester. She graduated in 2018. Mr. Thorne, many doctors graduate every year. Clara Lucia Thorne. Ethan said his wife's full name. Eleanor went completely still. My God, she whispered. Did you know her? Eleanor didn't answer. She abruptly stood up and walked to the filing cabinet where she kept her personal belongings. Ethan followed her. Doctor, did you know my wife? Eleanor opened the drawer of the filing cabinet, her hands trembling as she searched for something. Finally, she found what she was looking for. A photograph. But when she took it out, she stumbled slightly, and several papers fell to the floor. Ethan immediately bent down to help her pick them up. Among the documents that hit the floor, there was a photograph that made Ethan completely freeze. It was a graduation photo. 2 young women in gowns and mortarboards, hugging and smiling. One of them was Clara. The other was Eleanor. The world stopped. Ethan picked up the photograph with trembling hands. Clara looked exactly as he remembered her at 22, radiant and full of life. Beside her, a younger, but unmistakable, Eleanor. What? What is this? Ethan whispered. Eleanor snatched the photograph from his hands, but it was already too late. You knew Clara. Were you friends? Eleanor quickly put the photograph back in the folder, avoiding his gaze. Mr. Thorne, I think it would be better if... How long have you known my wife? Ethan asked, his voice rising. Why didn't you tell me from the first day? It's complicated. Complicated? Ethan couldn't control his voice. My daughter is being treated by someone who knew her dead mother and didn't tell me anything. At that moment, Lily appeared at the consultation room door. Why are you shouting? She asked with tears in her eyes. Dr. Eleanor isn't going to look after me anymore. A hidden friendship, a shocking confrontation, and a heartbroken child. Can Ethan and Eleanor mend the wounds of the past and build a new future for Lily? Share your emotional insights in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for the powerful climax. No, my love. Eleanor knelt down to Lily's level. Grown-ups sometimes have difficult conversations, but it's not your fault. It's never your fault." Lily nodded and left the consultation room, closing the door behind her. Eleanor remained kneeling on the floor for a moment before slowly getting up. "Clara and I were best friends all through medical school," she finally said, without looking at Ethan. "We were flatmates, we studied together, we graduated together. Then why did I never know about you?" Eleanor walked to the window, turning her back to him. "Because I left Manchester 3 weeks before your wedding. We had a silly fight, and I never apologized." Ethan felt as if the air had been sucked out of the room. "You were supposed to be at our wedding?" Eleanor nodded without turning. "I was going to be her maid of honor, but I got an opportunity to do my specialization in Madrid, and Clara thought it was an excuse not to be at her wedding. She said I was jealous of her happiness. And were you?" Eleanor finally turned around, and Ethan saw that tears were streaming down her face. "I don't know. Maybe. She was my best friend, and suddenly everything in her life was perfect. She had the perfect man, she was going to have the perfect wedding, the perfect life, and I felt lost." Ethan slowly sat down in a chair. "When did you find out she died?" 2 years after. I saw the news on Facebook. By then it was too late for the funeral, too late to apologize, too late for everything." "Was that why you came to London? To run away from the memories?" "I came because I couldn't stay in a place where every corner reminded me of how bad a friend I had been. And now? Now you show up with your daughter, and she says you look like Clara, and it's as if the universe is punishing me. Or maybe the universe is trying to tell us something," Ethan murmured, more to himself than to her. Eleanor looked at him in surprise. "Mr. Thorne, I understand if you want to change doctors for Lily. I can recommend several excellent colleagues." Ethan was silent for a long moment, processing everything he had heard. "Clara," he finally said. "Pardon?" "Clara used to say there were no coincidences, that everything happened for a reason." Eleanor closed her eyes. "Clara was always wiser than me." Ethan stood up and walked to the door, but stopped before opening it. "Dr. Evans?" "Yes?" "Lily's next appointment is in 2 weeks. We'll be here." And with that, Ethan left the consultation room, leaving Eleanor alone with her secrets and her tears, wondering if Clara had somehow orchestrated this impossible encounter. A painful secret is finally out. What does Ethan's surprising decision mean for his and Eleanor's future? Will they finally be able to heal the wounds of the past together? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for the final, heartwarming chapters. The next week passed in a slow blur for Ethan. He couldn't concentrate at work. He barely slept. And Lily noticed his distraction. "Daddy, are you mad at Dr. Eleanor?" she asked during Monday breakfast. "I'm not mad, Princess. But you haven't said much since we went to the hospital. And when I mentioned I wanted to invite her for dinner, you got very quiet." Ethan put down his coffee cup and looked at his daughter. At 6 years old, Lily was more perceptive than he would have liked. "It's complicated, Lily, because Dr. Eleanor knew Mummy." Ethan froze. Lily looked at him with those blue eyes so like Clara's, waiting for an honest answer. "How do you know that?" "I heard you talking. And Dr. Eleanor gets sad when I talk about Mummy. Only people who knew Mummy get that sad." Ethan sighed. There was no way to hide the truth from Lily. "Yes, Dr. Eleanor knew your mom. They were friends in university." "That's so cool," Lily smiled. "Then she can tell us stories about Mummy we don't know." "It's not that simple, my love." "Why not?" Ethan struggled to find the right words to explain the complexities of human relationships, guilt, and loss to a 6-year-old. Sometimes grown-ups have a fight, and when something bad happens, they don't get the chance to say sorry. Lily frowned, processing this information. Mummy and Dr. Eleanor had a fight? Yes. And Mummy died before they could be friends again? Yes. Lily was silent for a moment. Then she nodded, as if she had reached an important conclusion. Then we have to help Dr. Eleanor not be sad about Mummy. Daddy, Mummy always said that love is stronger than being mad. If Dr. Eleanor was Mummy's friend, then Mummy loved her. And if Mummy loved her, we have to love her too. The simplicity of Lily's logic left Ethan speechless. His 6-year-old daughter had reached a conclusion he hadn't been able to reach after a week of going in circles. The day of the next appointment arrived faster than Ethan expected. He walked to the hospital with Lily, feeling as if he were about to face a tribunal. Eleanor was waiting for them in her consultation room, clearly nervous. There were dark circles under her eyes, as if she hadn't slept either. "Good morning," she said formally when they entered. "Good morning, Dr. Eleanor." Lily ran towards her. "Daddy told me you were Mummy's friend." Eleanor looked at Ethan over Lily's head, surprised. "You told her?" "Lily is smarter than you think," Ethan replied. It was impossible to hide it from her. "Can you tell me things about Mummy that I don't know?" Lily asked, climbing onto the examination table. "Were you best friends?" Eleanor looked at Ethan, who nodded slightly, giving her permission. "Yes, we were best friends," Eleanor said softly. "Your mum was the kindest person I ever met. She always helped the other students when they didn't understand something." "Yes, Daddy says Mummy always helped everyone." Lily smiled. "Did you study together?" "All the time. Your mum made the best study notes in the whole class. Her handwriting was perfect, like a real doctor's." Ethan felt a pang in his chest. He remembered Clara's handwriting, how she wrote grocery lists that looked like medical prescriptions. "And were you friends when I was born?" Lily asked. Eleanor was silent. Ethan saw the pain cross her face. "No, my love. By the time you were born, Dr. Eleanor no longer lived in Manchester." "Why did you leave?" Eleanor finished checking Lily's heart before replying. "Sometimes grown-ups make decisions they later regret. I had an opportunity to study more in another country, and I thought it was more important than staying for my best friend." "Did you have a fight?" "Yes, we did," Eleanor admitted. "We fought over something silly, and I left without saying sorry." Lily processed this with a child's seriousness. "And that's why you're sad?" "Yes, that's why I'm sad." Lily got off the table and walked to Eleanor. With the confidence only children have, she hugged her. "Mummy's not mad at you," she told Eleanor. "Mummy never stayed mad for long. Daddy says she had a very big heart." Eleanor knelt down to Lily's level, and Ethan saw tears in her eyes. "You think so?" "I'm sure. And besides, now you can look after me. That way, Mummy knows you're still her friend." Eleanor looked at Ethan over Lily's head. In her eyes was a silent question. "Lily's right," Ethan finally said. "Clara hated holding grudges. She always said life was too short to waste time being angry." Eleanor slowly stood up. "And what about you, Mr. Thorne? Do you forgive me for not being there when you needed me?" Ethan looked at his daughter, who was watching them both with expectation. Then he looked at Eleanor, this woman who had carried guilt for 7 years. "Eleanor," he said, using her first name for the first time, "there is nothing to forgive. You didn't know what was going to happen. No one did." Eleanor covered her face with her hands and began to cry. Lily immediately hugged her again. "Why is she crying, Dr. Eleanor?" "Sometimes we cry when something that hurt us for a long time finally stops hurting," Ethan explained. Over the next few days, something changed between them. Ethan started arriving early for the appointments to talk to Eleanor about Clara. He discovered stories about his wife he had never known. How Clara had failed anatomy twice because she fainted at the sight of real bones. How she had adopted a stray cat in university and hid it in the dorm for months. How she had cried the day she decided to specialize in pediatrics because she couldn't bear the idea of children suffering. Eleanor, for her part, listened to Ethan's stories about the Clara he had known after, the loving wife, the dedicated mother she had been for the few months she lived after Lily's birth. "Clara once told me she wanted 3 children. Eleanor commented one afternoon, while Lily played in the children's area. Yes, she always said she wanted a house full of laughter, Ethan replied sadly. But she only had a few months with Lily before the accident. How did it happen exactly? She had gone to Manchester for her mother's birthday. It was raining hard, and a lorry ran a red light. She died in the hospital 2 days later. She never woke up. Eleanor closed her eyes. I was in Madrid when it happened. I didn't find out until a university colleague posted something on Facebook. By then, 2 years had already passed. Did you ever think of coming back for the funeral? Every day for those 2 years. But I was so afraid you would hate me for not being there, for leaving right before the wedding. Clara didn't hate you, Ethan said with certainty. She wasn't capable of hating anyone. She was hurt, yes, but she didn't hate you. Eleanor looked at him with curiosity. How can you be so sure? Ethan hesitated before answering. Because 2 days before the accident, she asked me if I thought you were all right in Spain. She said she had been thinking about writing you a letter. She wanted to tell you she was sorry for the things she had said before you left. She said she had realized you were right to take the opportunity in Spain, and that she had been selfish to ask you to stay. My God, Eleanor whispered. All this time I thought she hated me. All this time you both were blaming yourselves for the same thing, Ethan observed. Clara blamed herself for letting you go angry, and you blamed yourself for leaving. At that moment, Lily returned, running to them. Daddy, Dr. Eleanor, do you know what I found out? What, princess? In the play area, there are other kids whose daddies have died, and they all say their mummies or daddies send angels to look after them. Ethan and Eleanor exchanged a look. And what do you think of that? Eleanor asked. Lily looked at them both with the simple wisdom of childhood. I think Mummy sent you to look after my heart, Dr. Eleanor, and I think she sent Daddy and me to look after yours. Eleanor knelt and hugged Lily, and for the first time since they met, Ethan saw a genuine smile light up her face. I think you're right, Lily. I think your mummy knew exactly what she was doing. As they walked towards the car park that afternoon, Ethan felt something he hadn't experienced in 7 years. Peace. Not the absence of pain, but the presence of something bigger than the pain. Maybe Lily was right. Maybe Clara had found a way to make sure the people she loved looked after each other. And maybe, just maybe, that was exactly what they all needed to start healing. A stunning revelation of a lost friendship and a mother's last wish. What do you think the future holds for Ethan and Eleanor now that the truth is out? Share your emotional insights and subscribe for the beautiful culmination. 3 months had passed since Eleanor and Ethan discovered their connection to Clara. Lily's medical appointments had turned into meetings they all looked forward to. Eleanor had started staying after hours to answer Lily's endless questions about the heart, while Ethan brought coffee for Eleanor during her long shifts. One Friday afternoon, Ethan arrived at the hospital with a bag of tacos from a nearby shop. Dr. Eleanor, Daddy brought food, Lily announced when they entered the consultation room. Lily, you can't just shout like that, Ethan scolded her gently, but he was smiling. It's fine, Eleanor laughed. I just finished with my last patient for the day. Did you bring enough to share? Daddy always brings too much food. He says doctors never eat well, Lily explained, settling into a chair. As they ate, Lily talked about her week at school. She had been chosen to participate in a play about the Day of the Dead. I'm going to be a little angel who looks after a family, Lily explained excitedly. The teacher says I need an adult to help me with my costume. Daddy can't sew. That's true, I'm terrible with crafts, Ethan admitted. Dr. Eleanor, can you sew? Lily asked hopefully. Eleanor looked at Ethan, who nodded. If your dad doesn't mind, I can help you. Really? Lily jumped up and down. We can do it at our house. Daddy makes very good coffee, and we have a sewing machine that was Mummy's. Ethan felt a pang in his chest. Clara's sewing machine had been in the closet for 7 years. Eleanor, maybe it's better if you... I don't mind, Eleanor interrupted gently. If it's all right with you, I can come over on Saturday afternoon." And just like that, Eleanor ended up in Ethan's living room on a Saturday afternoon, with fabric spread everywhere and Lily jumping around excitedly. It was the first time anyone other than family had visited his house since Clara's death. "Your house is very nice," Eleanor commented as she measured the fabric for the angel wings. Clara decorated it. She always had better taste than me for these things. Eleanor paused as she saw the photos on the shelves. Clara in her wedding dress. Clara pregnant. Clara holding a newborn Lily. "She looks very happy in all the photos." She was. Clara had this gift for finding joy in the simplest things. Lily, who had been playing with fabric scraps, approached Eleanor. "Do you want to see my room? I have photos of Mummy there too." Eleanor looked at Ethan, who nodded. "I'd love to." They went upstairs to Lily's room, which was decorated in pink and white. On the bedside table was a photo of Clara holding a baby Lily. "Daddy says Mummy used to sing to me every night," Lily commented. "Do you know what songs she liked?" "She loved La Llorona," Eleanor replied. "She always sang it when she was nervous before exams." "Daddy sings that one too," Lily shouted excitedly. Back in the living room, while Eleanor worked on the costume and Ethan made coffee, Lily asked a question that took them by surprise. "Why haven't you gotten married again, Daddy?" Ethan almost dropped the coffee maker. "Lily, that's a very complicated topic. But aren't people who love each other supposed to get married?" Eleanor concentrated on her sewing, pretending not to listen. "Are you going to get married someday, Dr. Eleanor?" Ethan intervened before Eleanor had to answer. "Lily, those are a lot of personal questions. Let Dr. Eleanor finish your costume." But the question hung in the air, creating a tension that none of the adults knew how to handle. That night, after Eleanor left and Lily was asleep, Ethan stayed up late thinking. For the first time in 7 years, he had felt like a complete family. Eleanor fit into his house in a way that scared and soothed him at the same time. The next day, a Sunday, Ethan decided to do something he had been putting off. He needed to find Clara's memory box, to find a specific photo Lily had asked for a school project. He went up to the attic, where he had stored all of Clara's personal belongings. The box was exactly where he had left it 7 years ago, covered in dust and too many memories. When he opened it, Clara's perfume still faintly lingered among her things. Ethan had to stop for a moment to compose himself. He looked for the photograph until he found it. Clara, in her medical school graduation gown. But as he moved the papers, he found something that made his heart stop. A yellowed envelope in Clara's handwriting. On the front, written in blue ink, "For Eleanor, letter number 1. With trembling hands, Ethan kept looking. He found more envelopes. "For Eleanor, letter number 2. "For Eleanor, letter number 3. In total, there were 5 letters, all unopened, all addressed to Eleanor. Ethan sat on the attic floor, holding the letters. Clara had written letters to Eleanor, but had never sent them. With his heart pounding, he opened the first letter. It was dated 2 months after the wedding. "My dear Eleanor, I don't know how to start this letter. It's been 2 months since you left, and there hasn't been a single day that I haven't thought of you. I know we said horrible things to each other before you left for Spain, but you need to know that I didn't mean them. You were right. The opportunity to study in Madrid was incredible, and I was selfish to ask you to turn it down for my wedding. My wedding was beautiful, but it wasn't the same without my best friend there. Ethan asks about you. I told him everything about us, about our years in university, about how much you mean to me. He says I should write to you. So here I am. I miss you, Eleanor. I miss our study nights, our conversations until 3 in the morning, the way you made me laugh when everything seemed impossible. Please, write back to me. I want to know how you are, what Madrid is like, if you're happy, if you're your friend who loves you." Clara. P.S. Ethan thinks you are the most amazing woman in the world. He says he has never met anyone so beautiful, who also has the biggest heart. I think you should come back and see for yourself. Your love, Clara. Ethan felt tears welling in his eyes. Clara had never told him how much she missed Eleanor. He opened the second letter. This one was dated 4 months after, when Clara was pregnant. Eleanor, I'm pregnant. It's a girl. Ethan and I are both excited and terrified. When I think about being a mom, I think about you. I remember how you looked after the pediatric patients during our placements, how you had that natural gift for calming scared children. I want you to meet my daughter. I want you to be her Auntie Eleanor, just like we always talked about, how we would be aunts to each other's children. Why aren't you answering my letters? Are you still mad at me, Lara? The third letter was dated after Lily was born. My dearest Eleanor, Lily was born on March 15th. She's perfect. She has Ethan's eyes, but my nose. She cries a lot, but when I hold her, she calms down immediately. I'm writing this at 3 in the morning while I feed her. Ethan is asleep, and the house is silent. In these quiet moments, I think of you. I wonder if you have night shifts at the hospital in Madrid, if you're saving the lives of children just like you always dreamed of. I want you to be Lily's godmother. I know it sounds crazy after so long without speaking, but you're the only person in the world I would trust with my daughter. Clara. The fourth letter was dated when Lily was 4 months old. Eleanor. Every day that passes without news from you, it hurts more. I've sent 3 letters and haven't received a reply. Maybe you changed your address. Maybe you're too busy. Maybe you hate me. But if this letter reaches you, I need you to know something. I'm sorry for everything I said before you left. I was afraid of losing you, and by trying to hold on to you, I pushed you away forever. You're my sister in everything but blood, Eleanor. Lily deserves to know the woman who taught me to be strong, to chase my dreams, to never give up. If you can ever forgive me, I'll be here waiting for you. Clara. Ethan opened the 5th and last letter with trembling hands. It was dated a week before the accident. My dearest Eleanor, this will be my last letter if I don't hear back from you. I've decided that if I don't have news from you, I'm going to come to Madrid to find you. I can't live the rest of my life without knowing if you're okay, without apologizing to you in person. Ethan says I'm crazy, that maybe you've moved on with your life and don't want to know anything about us. But I know that's not true. I know you, Eleanor. I know that if you haven't responded, it's because you're as scared as I am that things have changed too much. If anything ever happens to me, I want you to know that I never stopped loving you. I want you to know that I talk about you every day, that I tell Lily about her Auntie Eleanor, who lives far away, but loves her. And if anything happens to me, Eleanor, please look after my family. Ethan is the best man in the world, but he's going to need help raising Lily. And Lily is going to need someone who understands what it is to be a strong, independent woman. I want you to know that if Ethan ever finds love again, he has my blessing. Life is too short to live it alone. And if by some miracle of fate, it's you who finds your way back to us, please don't let guilt keep you away. Love is stronger than guilt, Eleanor. It always is. I love you like the sister I never had. Take care of your heart. And someday, I hope I can introduce you to your niece, Lily. Forever your friend, Clara. P.S. Lily has your smile when she sleeps. Ethan says it's my imagination. But I know a soul recognizes a soul. Ethan sat on the attic floor, crying over the letters his wife had written, but never sent. Clara had known. Somehow, she had known that Eleanor would return to their lives. He went downstairs with the letters in his hands, feeling as if Clara were guiding him. Lily was watching television in the living room. "Daddy, why are you crying?" "It's not sadness, Princess. Sometimes we cry when we understand something very important." "What did you understand?" Ethan sat down next to his daughter and hugged her. "I understood that your mummy knew Dr. Eleanor was going to look after us, even before we knew it." "Are you going to give the letters to Dr. Eleanor?" Lily asked. "Do you think I should?" "Yes, the letters are for her. And besides, Mummy wanted her to read them." That night, Ethan called Eleanor. "Eleanor, I need to talk to you. Could you come by tomorrow after work? I found something that Clara wanted you to have." The next day, when Eleanor arrived at his house, Ethan handed her the 5 letters without explanation. "Clara wrote them for you, but never sent them." Eleanor took the letters with trembling hands. As she read them, Ethan saw every emotion cross her face: surprise, pain, joy, and finally, a deep peace. When she finished reading the last letter, Eleanor looked at Ethan with tears in her eyes. "She knew." "Yes, she knew we would find each other. Clara was always wiser than the rest of us." Eleanor approached Ethan, still holding the letters. "Ethan, He moved closer to her, until they were so close he could see the golden freckles in her hazel eyes. "Eleanor, I think Clara was right. Love is stronger than guilt." And then, for the first time in 7 years, Ethan kissed a woman who wasn't Clara. It was a soft kiss, full of tears and years of pain that finally found a path to healing. When they pulled apart, Lily appeared in the living room. "Are you getting married now?" she asked, with the innocence of a 6-year-old. Ethan and Eleanor looked at each other and started to laugh. Maybe Lily was right about everything. Maybe life was much simpler than adults made it out to be. "One step at a time, Princess," Ethan said, taking Eleanor's hand. "One step at a time. A kiss that erases years of pain. A love born from a beautiful secret. Will Ethan and Eleanor build a family with Lily? What do you think their future holds? Share your hopes in the comments and subscribe for the beautiful culmination." 6 months after their first kiss, Ethan's life had completely changed. Eleanor had started spending nights at his house, helping with Lily's homework, cooking family dinners, and filling the silent spaces that had existed for 7 years. Lily had improved so much that she only needed checkups every 3 months, but she always found reasons for extra checkups with Dr. Eleanor. "Daddy, my heart feels funny," Lily announced one Saturday morning as they had breakfast. "Funny how?" Eleanor asked, immediately alert. "It feels very happy." "That's normal." Ethan almost choked on his coffee as Eleanor laughed. "Yes, Princess. A happy heart is completely normal." "Dr. Eleanor, your heart feels happy too." Eleanor looked at Ethan before answering. "Yes, Lily. My heart feels happier than it has in a long time." That afternoon, while Eleanor helped Lily with a science project about the circulatory system, Ethan watched them from the kitchen. It was a scene so natural, so perfect, that for a moment he felt guilty for being so happy. As if she had read his thoughts, Eleanor approached him while Lily worked on her project. "What are you thinking about?" she asked in a low voice. "That Clara would be happy to see us like this." "Do you think so?" "The letters made it very clear. She wanted us to be a family." Eleanor squeezed his hand. "Sometimes I feel as if she's here, watching over us." "Maybe she is." That night, after Lily fell asleep, Ethan and Eleanor sat in the back garden. It was a clear night, and the stars shone brightly over London. "Eleanor," Ethan said, taking her hands, "there's something I want to ask you." Eleanor tensed slightly. "What is it? Would you be happy here? With us? Forever?" Eleanor looked him in the eyes. "Ethan, you don't have to answer now. I just want you to know that Lily and I can't imagine life without you." Eleanor smiled. "I don't need time to think about it. The answer is yes. Yes, I would be happy here with you forever. Ethan had planned to propose to Eleanor in a special way. He wanted to do it at the hospital, in the children's garden where they had first met. He thought it was fitting that the place where Lily was healed would be the same place where he asked Eleanor to officially become a part of his family. But Lily had other plans. The following Tuesday, while they were at Eleanor's office for Lily's quarterly checkup, his daughter decided to take matters into her own hands. "Dr. Eleanor," Lily said solemnly, while Eleanor was checking her blood pressure, "I have a very important question." "Yes, my love?" Lily got off the examination table and took a lollipop from her dad's bag. "Do you want to marry me and Daddy?" Lily asked, offering Eleanor the lollipop in the shape of a ring. Ethan froze. Eleanor looked at Lily, then at him, and started to laugh. "Lily, where did you get that idea?" "Daddy's been nervous all week. I found him looking at rings on the computer. And besides, you're already like my mummy. You just need to make it official." Eleanor knelt to Lily's level. "And you want me to be your mummy officially?" "Yes," Lily shouted. "But not to replace Mummy Clara. She'll always be my first mummy. You'll be my heart mummy." Eleanor began to cry. "Lily, there's nothing in the world that would make me happier than being your heart mummy. Is that a yes?" "Yes, yes, yes." Eleanor laughed through her tears. Lily jumped for joy and ran to Ethan. "Daddy, Dr. Eleanor said yes! Now you have to give her the real ring." Ethan looked at Eleanor, who was still kneeling on the floor, holding the lollipop and crying with happiness. "Well," he said, taking a small velvet box from his jacket pocket, "I guess I can't wait until the weekend." He knelt in front of Eleanor and opened the box, revealing a simple but beautiful ring, with a diamond surrounded by small emeralds. "Eleanor Evans, will you marry me and help me raise our daughter, Lily?" Eleanor couldn't speak. She just nodded as he put the ring on her finger. "Dr. Eleanor is going to be my mummy," Lily shouted, running towards the consultation room door. "Nurse Anna, Dr. Eleanor is going to be my mummy." Soon the entire pediatric floor knew the news. Nurses appeared with flowers, and the head of the hospital came to congratulate them personally. "Dr. Evans," Dr. Jones said, "in my 30 years working here, I've never seen a marriage proposal with a lollipop. It's definitely a first." Eleanor laughed, still in tears. "Lily always finds a way to make things special." That night at home, as they planned a small, intimate wedding, Lily made a suggestion that surprised them. "Can we get married in the hospital chapel?" she asked. "That's where we all met." Ethan looked at Eleanor. "What do you think?" "It's perfect. The hospital is where our story as a family began. A surprise proposal, a beautiful new family, and a love that heals. What do you think their wedding will be like? Share your heartfelt predictions in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for the beautiful culmination. 3 weeks later, on a Saturday morning, the hospital chapel was decorated with white and yellow flowers. Eleanor had chosen a simple but elegant dress, and she wore the pearl necklace that had been Clara's, a gift from Ethan the night before. "Clara would have wanted you to wear it," he had said. "It was her favorite piece." Lily walked down the aisle carrying the rings on a small satin pillow, but when she reached the altar, she stopped. "Wait," she said. "Something's missing." She ran to one of the pews and returned with a small bouquet of yellow flowers. "These are for Mummy Clara," she explained, placing the flowers on an empty chair in the front row. "So she knows she's invited to the wedding too." Eleanor had to wipe her tears before she could continue with the ceremony. Father Adams, the hospital chaplain who knew their story, officiated the wedding with words that spoke of second chances, of love that transcends death, and of families that are formed in unexpected ways. During the exchange of vows, Eleanor promised to love Ethan with all her heart and to care for Lily as if she were her own daughter. Ethan promised to honor Clara's memory while building a future full of love with Eleanor. But it was Lily who surprised everyone when she asked to make her own vows. "Mommy Eleanor," she said, taking Eleanor's hands, "I promise to be a good daughter and help you when you're sad. And I promise to tell everyone that I have two mummies who love me, one in heaven and one here with me." There wasn't a dry eye in the chapel. After the ceremony, as they took photos in the hospital's children's garden, Lily made an observation that made everyone laugh. "You know what's the funniest part?" "What, princess?" Ethan asked. "That it all started because my heart wasn't working right. But now we have 3 hearts that beat together." Eleanor knelt to hug Lily. "You're right, my love. Sometimes things that seem bad at first lead us to wonderful things." That night, at the small reception they held in the hospital courtyard, Eleanor danced her first dance as Ethan's wife, while Lily played with the other children who had come with their families. "You know what?" Eleanor told Ethan as they danced. "I think Clara was right about everything." "About what specifically?" "About love always finding a way." Ethan kissed her gently. "And about Lily having your smile when she sleeps?" "How do you know that?" "Because now I can watch you sleep every night, and Lily definitely has your same peaceful expression." As the night deepened, a maintenance worker who had been renovating the chapel during the past weeks came to finish the repairs. He found a strange object behind a loose brick in the wall, a yellowed envelope that seemed to have been there for years. Father Adams, the hospital chaplain, recognized the handwriting and read the letter with care. It was a prayer from a woman named Clara, dated exactly 1 week before her death. In it, Clara asked God to look after her family when she was gone, specifically mentioning a friend named Eleanor and begging that she somehow find her way back into their lives. Father Adams smiled and put the letter away. Some miracles, he thought, just take time to fully reveal themselves. Meanwhile, Eleanor, Ethan, and Lily began their new life as an official family, unaware that Clara had blessed their union long before any of them could imagine it was possible. Love, indeed, always finds a way. 2 years after the wedding, the life of the Thorne Evans family had found its perfect rhythm. Eleanor had been promoted to head of pediatric cardiology, while Ethan had designed the hospital's new children's wing, a project that beautifully united their professional worlds. "Daddy, Mummy Eleanor, Michael can say heart now," Lily shouted from the living room, where she was playing with her 1-year-old brother, Michael. Eleanor and Ethan ran from the kitchen to see Michael, who was crawling on the floor while babbling sounds that, indeed, sounded a lot like heart. "He's a genius," Ethan declared, picking up his son. "He's clearly going to be a cardiologist like his mummy, or an architect like his daddy," Eleanor added, kissing Michael's head. "Or a dancer like his big sister." Lily, now 8, had grown into a confident child who spoke proudly of her 2 mummies, Mummy Clara, who looked after her from heaven, and Mummy Eleanor, who looked after her on earth. "Mummy Eleanor," Lily said that afternoon while Eleanor helped her with her homework. "Do you think Mummy Clara knows Michael?" Eleanor stopped reviewing the maths problems and looked at Lily. "What do you think?" "I think she does. Because yesterday when Michael was crying a lot, I told him, 'Mummy Clara, help me!' and he calmed down instantly." Eleanor smiled. "I'm sure Mummy Clara knows Michael and loves him just as much as she loves all of us. And do you think she's happy that we have a big family now?" "I think she's very happy, my love." That night, as they were putting Michael to bed, Ethan noticed Eleanor had a thoughtful expression. "What are you thinking about?" Eleanor hesitated before answering. "Ethan, there's something I want to tell you." The tone of her voice made Ethan a little tense. "What is it?" Eleanor took his hands. "I'm pregnant, Ethan stood still for a moment, processing the news. Seriously? Yes, 8 weeks. Ethan picked her up and spun her around, making Michael giggle from his crib. Another baby, how do you feel? Happy, scared, excited, all at the same time. Did you tell Lily yet? I wanted to tell you first, but I think she already suspects something. Yesterday she asked me why I hadn't had coffee all week. The next day, they decided to tell Lily during breakfast. Her reaction was typical Lily. I knew it, she shouted, jumping from her chair. Michael is going to have a little brother or sister. Can I help choose the name? Of course you can help, Eleanor laughed. Do you have any suggestions? Lily became very serious. If it's a girl, we should call her Clara. And if it's a boy, we should call him. She stopped, thinking intently. What was Mummy Clara's dad's name? Ethan and Eleanor exchanged a look. His name was Robert, Ethan answered. Then Clara Robert, if it's a girl, Lily announced. Eleanor put her hand on her still flat belly. I like how that sounds. The following months were a beautiful mix of family routine and preparations for the new baby. Lily had become the most protective big sister in the world, constantly talking to Eleanor's belly and explaining to her future brother or sister how the family worked. Look, baby, she'd say to Eleanor's belly. This is Mummy Eleanor. She takes care of our hearts. And this is Daddy. He designs houses so kids don't get sick. And I'm Lily, and I'm going to teach you all about Mummy Clara when you're born. At the hospital, Eleanor had started training her temporary replacement for when the baby was born. Her colleagues joked that the new pediatric wing Ethan had designed seemed specifically made for the Thorne Evans children. Dr. Evans, a nurse told her one day, in all my years working here, I've never seen a family that brings so much joy to this place. Thank you, Eleanor replied. But you know this place gave us everything too. One afternoon in November, when Eleanor was 7 months pregnant, they received an unexpected call from Father Adams. Could you come to the hospital? There's something I'd like to show you. They arrived at the chapel, curious. Father Adams was waiting for them with a mysterious smile. During the chapel renovations, we found something that I think belongs to you, he said, handing them a yellowed envelope. Eleanor immediately recognized Clara's handwriting. Where did you find this? It was hidden behind a loose brick in the wall. It seems your friend visited this chapel before she left. With trembling hands, Eleanor opened the letter. Ethan read over her shoulder, while Lily played quietly on a nearby pew. The letter was a prayer addressed to God, dated exactly 1 week before Clara's accident. In it, Clara asked God to look after her family when she was gone, specifically mentioning Eleanor and begging that she somehow find her way back into their lives. My God, Eleanor whispered. She knew. Clara knew that something was going to happen. Ethan read the last part of the letter aloud. And if it's possible, Lord, please let them have more children. Let them fill the house with laughter just like we always dreamed. Eleanor put her hand on her belly. Even this, she said. Even the baby I'm carrying. Clara asked for it. Lily came running up to them. Why are you crying? It's Mummy Clara's letter. What does it say? It says she loves us very much and wants us to be happy. And that we should have lots of babies. Ethan laughed. Yes, Lily. It says that too. That night, as they were putting the kids to bed, Ethan reflected on the path that had led them here. 10 years ago, he was a lonely doctor carrying the guilt of a lost friendship. Now he was a mother of 3, a wife to a wonderful man, and the director of a hospital, part of a family that had grown not in spite of tragedy, but because of love's capacity to transform pain into something beautiful. When they left the house that morning, Eleanor noticed something she had never seen before. In the front garden, Next to the roses Ethan had planted in honor of Clara, a new plant had started to grow. It was small, barely visible, but it was definitely there. "What's that?" Lily asked, following her gaze. "It looks like a new flower," Eleanor replied. "I don't know what kind. Maybe it's a gift from Mummy Clara," Isabella suggested, to celebrate the new hospital. Eleanor smiled, taking her children's hands as they walked to the car. "Maybe it is, my love. Maybe it is." And as they drove into the hospital, where Eleanor would save more hearts, and Ethan would continue designing spaces that healed families, the little plant in the garden kept growing towards the sun, a silent reminder that love, indeed, always finds a way. The story that had started with a scared little girl and a desperate father had blossomed into a legacy of love that would touch the lives of hundreds of families. And somewhere, Clara Thorne was smiling, knowing that her plan had worked perfectly. Love never dies. It just finds new ways to multiply, to grow, and to keep healing hearts, one family at a time.